Hi, welcome to video 4 on building a cherry liquor cabinet. When we left off last time, I had just done my dry fit with all of the wine rack components and the bottom shelf in the cabinet. In this video, I'm going to be building the remainder of the components for the carcass, doing some pre-finishing and some pre-assembly. So the first thing I need to worry about today, or that I need to start working on, is the back panels. And I've got these two boards that, as you can see, are a sequential cut from a log. So with the sizes that I need for those back panels, I really want to use a single book match on each panel. But that means I need kind of a wide panel to do that. And these are the two widest pieces I have. And there's this really cool grain at the other end down there that I'd really like to use for those back panels. But I was also hoping to be able to use this piece for the top. However, I'd really like that to be down at this end, but in the middle, you can see there's some rot that I'm dealing with here that I'm going to try and work around. So I've been going back and forth on how I want to do this, because there's some rot there, there's a nail that was in there and a little blue staining, and I don't know that I can get enough from this end for the top, but that end I know I could, but I really want to use that for the back panel. So I was looking through the rest of my stock, and I think that I can have a plan B for the top, but I don't have anything better than that for my back panel. So I'm going to go ahead and use that end for my back panels, and then I will find a way to make this or some of my other stock work for the top. So to get my exact measurement for the size of these panels, I'm going to use a trick that I use all the time, where I'm just taking a couple pieces of scrap wood and expanding them out fully inside those dados, and then I'm just going to tape those pieces together. And then that gives me that exact dimension that I can then measure. I'll never get a tape measure in there, so this to me has always been the easiest way. Now that my back panels are cut to size, I'm going to turn my attention to this drawer, and specifically not the drawer, but the hardware that I'm going to need in here to support the drawer runners and sides and such. Now this side of the cabinet is going to have a cabinet door, and it's going to be an inset cabinet door, which means when it opens, I need clearance. It's going to be sitting about here. I need clearance for the drawer. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be spacing out either side of this drawer opening, and then from here on the inside I need to support the drawer at those places, coming back both from here and on the sides of the drawer. So I'm going to be making some drawer runners that are going to sit on the inside of this. Now, the good thing about this is it's a good opportunity to use up some of that less desirable wood that I got in the batch. I buy all of my lumber locally sourced. I'm in the Midwest, so it's readily available. A lot of it that's local trees, and they cut down the whole tree and I get a deal on it, but with that comes some of the less desirable wood like the sapwood and such. So I've got some of that, and I'm going to use that for all my internal components here. But basically I need to create some drawer runners on the sides and on the bottom that will support this drawer. Okay, I've gotten to the point on this where all of the major pieces of the carcass have been built, and it's time to start thinking about doing some assembly. So before I do that, I've got some details that I need to take care of, edge treatments all the way around, including rounding over these wine rack parts. And I also want to go in and pre-finish these back panels before assembly. So what I'm going to do now is take this whole thing apart and start working on that stuff. And then once I've got everything sanded down, then I'm going to start getting some sub-assemblies put together. Okay, so I'm getting ready for my next round of pre-finishing, and what I've got here is the drawer box that I made that sits and offsets the drawer sides. I put it together as a pre-assembly just for ease of construction and ease of installation. However, before I go and pre-finish it, I need to consider that there's some surfaces that are not going to get finish on them. These sides here are going to be waxed, since there's going to be a drawer running up against them, so I don't want to put finish on them. I'm going to use just a wax there, and I'll talk about that later. And then also there's a couple glue surfaces where this is going to be mounted into the box, such as across the bottom side of the front of this. This area is going to be exposed, this area is going to be exposed and visible, so I want finish on them. In here, this is actually not going to be seen most of the time. However, there will be points where it will be seen, and I also am going to be putting a false bottom on here. That false bottom will be waxed, but this piece will not. So I've taped off the areas that are not going to receive any finish, and I can go ahead and start the pre-finishing process on this now. What I'm going to be doing now is a dry assembly of the back panel just so that I can glue up this rear stile. I want to locate it exactly where it needs to be from this leg, and in order to do that I need that sub-assembly for the wine rack in here. Once I've got this stile glued up, I'm going to take it back apart so that I'll now have the two rear rails and the rear stile as one sub-assembly. I'll get that sanded down and get the edge treatments done to it. I'll separately get the chamfers on the legs done and get those sanded. Then I'll do some pre-finishing, and then I can glue up this whole back assembly. So for this front center stile, I'm doing this one just a little bit different than the other one in that I'm not dry fitting the entire front frame, just this bottom rail stile and this one leg. That's enough in this case to be able to position it, and it will allow me just to glue up this one piece, which will give me the most that I can do pre-finishing wise. It just has to do with how that top rail goes across. It's not flush at this end. Here it is, and I need to sand these two pieces together. Up there I don't. So this way I can establish the chamfer in the corner. I can get this all sanded flush, and then I can pre-finish as much as I can. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this one up here. As you can see, I've got all the finishing done on most of my components. I've got the base for this side, the shelf for the other side, panels, the drawers, all of that's pre-finished already. The only thing that isn't right now is this side of this panel and the opposing side over here. And that's because I still have some shelf standards to build and they're gonna be attached to that. So I wanna get that done before I do any finishing on this. So that's where I'm gonna pick up on the next one. But for here, most of the finishing is done and I'm pretty happy with how it came out. So that wraps this one up. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.